Chuck Bass is a Miami native rapper who has been making projects and waves ever since 2018, appearing in works such as In Mace Murdy or Luminescence. Truthfully, this is the first time I've mentioned his name on this What the Robot Thinks platform, and as well as this is the first time I've ever heard of his name and his music. But I thought shining light or dissecting what projects that is coming out of the young underground scene is very apparent and very important, and to see how these young artists would develop in the future coming years. Where will they go in the future? Will they change in terms of style, in terms of flow, in terms of cadence? Is anybody gonna break the mold and propel themselves into another stratosphere of influential hip-hop? It's all very interesting. And with Chuck Bass's background and my background of him, I can honestly say I don't know what to expect from his first EP, 93 Days. But after listening and re-listening to this, I can honestly say that I was pleasantly surprised and pleased with what I got in 93 Days. With a runtime of only 15 minutes, you can really feel his urgency in that he wants to showcase his skills, his style, and his potential trendsetter mentality in the Miami scene. And this is immediately thrown at you in the first two tracks of Right Now and Opa, as well as Drop Dead. It feels that Chuck can go on and on and on with every unceasing bar through a lengthy runtime and duration. And the production here, it sounds cloudy, it sounds trappy, but not too overly blown or dramatic or anything of the sort. I think the production fits him perfectly. On the intro right now, I like the looping guitar pickings and the spine-shattering bass, and the thunderous synths that he implements at the end of the verse and the hook. It's very enjoyable. It really lifts the track up. Chuck's delivery and flow is very relentless, very energetic, fitting the production very, very well, and it shows you again the urgency that he is portraying to the sort of new listeners. And all throughout, his pen game is witty, it's clever with little sprinkles of nice, very memorable punchlines. One of my favorite being, "In Just Like Flint, you can taste that lead." On Opa, we get another aggressive track that is steep with heavy drums and bass. This is the extended version of the Opa single. This time in my ears, it has a more personal and upbringing tones through his lyrics of how he grew up, how he's not taking any bullshit from anyone. And I like the Pokemon First Generation reference that he has here about Brock, Misty, and Ash. I mean, if any hip-hop artist can weave and bend a reference that very saturated but in a way that is very clever and very smooth, it's a win in my book. His determination is spoken very, very clearly through the cadence and the presence that he has, taking no bullshit from anyone, being an ambitious individual, and just permeating that young spirit. And the fact that he can pull off this young, hungry spirit that is out for blood over these type of arguably saturated production, I think is very, very noteworthy. And I know I've been talking a lot of the aggressive side of Chuck, but there are moments of smoothness and there are moments of, say, maturity, especially on the track Step. I personally think Step is when Chuck is at its peak in terms of songwriting. The structure of the song is very wondrous, the production is very ethereal, and I like the very fun and catchy hook that he has. I like the waning synths in the background. Topic-wise, it's no different from the track previously, Opa, but I think what I like about this track is he does not need to come off as aggressive as the first two tracks to showcase his young spirit. He can take it on in a more mature way, in a more laid-back way. It's the aspect of I don't want to let these toxicity take over me in a more calming manner, and I can really appreciate that. And afterwards, we get the track Drop Dead. He is back on his aggressive braggadocio, but this time over a very skeletal beat. Similarly to Right Now and Opa, there's not much difference in terms of creative braggadocio execution, but what I do have to say is maybe it's because of the juxtaposition of these two elements. He sounds a lot more gruffer, he sounds a lot more growlier, he sounds a lot more angrier in this track than the two previous braggadocio based tracks. And again, I love when an artist, especially a really, really young one, is willing to show the listeners his urgency, his cadence, his hunger. And we end this EP off with the track 11 Form. The track holistically is not too different from the track Step, being a bit more light on its feet, though I wouldn't say it's as punchy or as sharpened as the track track Step, and I think for me that comes down to the hook and the flow that he uses for this song. I think personally the hook is not all crafted that well, and what he wants to do with the verses, I think he's just putting too much syllables and too much words into bars and durations, whereby I feel like he can cut down a few words. So at the end of the day, it does feel a bit disjointed when I listen to it. If there are any overarching criticism that I have on his EP, is that sometimes he does force flows into durations and bars where I think he could have just made it simpler. And I noticed this very early on, or maybe early to mid in the EP. It's only 5 tracks on the track Right Now, and even on my favorite track Step. And another overarching criticism that I have on this EP is that the hooks. When I got a taste of the songwriting ability on this part on Steps, I thought that Chuck Bass could have done so much more to make a track more holistic, a lot more punchier. At the end of the day, I saw his capability not only in spitting verses, bar after bar after bar, but as well as a holistic songwriter. The more and more I listen to this EP, it does sound like Issa Gold from the Underachievers in their more, I say, recent outputs. It Happened in Flatbush or Renaissance. The bouncing trap beats, the knocking bass, and the occasional soothing cuts and atmospheric tone songs here as well. I don't know if I'm bothered by that by the end of the day, because what I got from 93 EP, again, I was pleasantly surprised. If anything, I do want to see Chuck Bass and the Underachievers collaborate, not only in terms of to see what kind of songs they will conjure up, but to see these young energy collide. As an EP, I thought this was very solid. I thought it was good. It wasn't mind-blowing or anything like that. Like I said before, I do have 2 overarching criticism about 93 Days. But for what I got for 15 minutes, I was pleasantly surprised. And I'm excited where this guy goes in the next couple of years and see how his skills develop and how he will take on the aspect of style experimentation. So that's it for my review of Chuck Bass's 93 Days EP. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to follow my Instagram account at What The Robot Thinks for more content. And I'll see you guys soon. Stay safe. Peace.